Talk to me.
Hey guys, what's up? If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. My name is 𝐻𝑒𝓁𝓁𝑜 and welcome to Girl Talk podcast, a podcast dedicated to all things beauty, all things business, and all the bullshit in between. So I had some technical difficulties. I was supposed to upload the beginning of July and that didn't work because I had some mic issues. So here we are. Episode 1, it's going to be about my celibacy journey. You can listen to my podcast on Spotify and you can also watch my podcast on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is Kasandra Marie and all of my socials are _Kasandra Marie _. So let's get straight into today's episode about my celibacy journey. So I wanted to talk about a couple of things. This may be a multiple part episode because this topic is something that I'm very, very passionate about and I have a lot to say on this topic. But we will get started with what did my life look like before my celibacy journey started, and then why did I start my celibacy journey, and I'll kind of get into the during my celibacy journey, and I'm still currently on my journey, and I'll share that with you guys at the end. So what did my life look like before I turned celibate, and why did I decide to even start the journey? So 2 years ago, I was not celibate. I have been celibate now for 2 years, and I started the journey. I went through a really, really bad breakup in the summer, in June of 2021. I was in a 2.5-year relationship. It was very, very toxic, and I felt that I literally had to spiritually fast and energetically fast. I felt like I needed a detox from everything and everybody in my life that was no longer serving me. So that's really where it started. Life before celibacy, during those 2 years prior, I was working a 9-to-5 job. I was a receptionist. I really didn't value myself as much as I do now, and I wasn't really truly living in my purpose how I am now. And I think celibacy kind of kickstarted all of that. It was just really the first step to me knowing my worth. So I was in a really toxic relationship, and I think that the person that I was dating was a vibrational and energetic match to where I was in my life at that time. I really wasn't doing the things that fulfilled me. This was also during the pandemic, and that was a really, really hard time for a lot of people. So yeah, I just wasn't living in my purpose, and I just had this overwhelming feeling that I wanted more. I would always think about it. I would always plan it. I would put things on my Pinterest board that I wanted to do, but I just never took action on them. I never had energy to take action on them because I was in this relationship that was draining me. Yeah, I had like no energy and no ambition before my celibacy journey. That's pretty much what my life looked like. Now, starting off my celibacy journey, first in the summer of 2021, it was very, very hard for me because I was with this person every single day. So it was just very hard for me to like get over that relationship. So for the summer, I wasn't celibate. In October of 2021, that's when I finally decided to be celibate. I was like, you know what? This dating world out here is not it. It's not for me. I'm going to take time off of dating. I'm going to take some time to myself, and I'm going to go celibate. And that's when I decided to go celibate in October of 2021. The first thing that I noticed was my creativity started to come back. In the 2 years that I was in the relationship, I pretty much didn't upload any content onto YouTube. I would here and there sporadically, but I just couldn't find the motivation to even upload. I had no creativity whatsoever. So all of my creative source was being like taken from me, basically, like energetically taken from me through my sexual energy. And so if you don't know that your sacral chakra is connected to your sexual energy, and sexual energy is creative energy, and a lot of people who are very creative have a strong sexual energy as well, because it's the same energy flow. So that was the first thing that I noticed that started to come back, was I wanted to create again. I wanted to make video. My reels were way better than they were before. Like I was just more active on social media and just I was more in my flow state. I was more in my element. I felt more like myself again. The years prior to that, prior to getting into the relationship, I was very, very creative. I grew my YouTube channel from 1,000 or like 7,000 views to 100,000. So in that year before, the years before my relationship, I was very creative, and that same energy started to come back to me. That was the first thing that I noticed, was my creativity came back. The second thing that I noticed when I started my celibacy journey was that I had a lot more energy, and a lot of my manifestations started happening so much faster because I was putting all this time, effort, and energy into a relationship. When I started pouring that energy back into myself, everything started happening so much faster. I started traveling more. I got more clients. I got more students that I was training. I upgraded my lash suite. Like, everything just started working out really well for me, because that energy that you harness from your sexual energy is your creative energy. So now that you're pouring that into yourself, you're able to do things. You're able to have more energy. You're able to go after your goals and dreams a lot more. So those were things that I started seeing. And then I would say in 2022 to 2023 is when I saw the most growth, the exponential amount of growth. And that was about 6 months to a year into my celibacy. I started noticing a lot of things changing. So once my creativity came back, I had more energy. I started manifesting easier, and I really started to tackle all of my dreams and goals that I had written down for like years, like 3 to 5 years. I had these dreams written down, and they started coming quick, almost like shockingly quick. So after that, my 6 months to a year into celibacy, I started noticing that I didn't want to drink anymore. So I started getting rid of all the toxicity out of my life, starting with drinking. And then I started changing my eating habits. I started eating less fast food. I started eating more whole foods. And then I just had like this craving for fitness. So once I went on my celibacy journey and I started tackling my goals, it was like it trickled into every single area of my life. Then in the year 2023, it was like I was attracting people, places, and things that were just destined for me. It was like I was so magnetic, and everything that I wanted was just being gravitationally pulled towards me. In 2023, January, I got my MacBook. I upgraded my equipment for YouTube. I hired a mentor. I took a business course. I hired a personal trainer. It was just like so much stuff at once. And it looked like overnight success, or it looked like overnight stuff was happening. But this stuff was like 5 years in the making. I had put this stuff on my vision board 5 years ago. I had written all this stuff down in my journal 5 years prior. But because people don't see behind the scenes, they don't see how stagnant I was for like 2 years, that I didn't really do anything during COVID. I felt like I wasn't doing anything. I felt like I wasn't growing at all. It looked like a lot of success all at once, but for me it was like bamboo growth. Like, you couldn't see the bamboo tree growing, but after 10 years in the making, the bamboo tree grows to be the tallest tree. And that's kind of how my success was. It looked like all of a sudden I was winning and in a winning season, but mentally I have been planning this and preparing for this since 5 years ago. So I started seeing the most growth in that year to 6 month mark. And then this year it's really changed. And now I'm even eliminating certain friends and just like people on social media that I no longer resonate with. And I'm very, very stingy with my energy. It literally trickles into every single area of your life. How you do one thing is how you do all things. So my discipline for being celibate and being committed to my celibacy journey trickled into my diet, trickled into my health, trickled into my business, trickled into my friendships. It trickled into not drinking and smoking. I really didn't smoke except for with my ex-partner, but if I was drinking or around friends who smoked, I would smoke. So even smoking and like drinking habits, I eliminated everything that didn't serve me, and I eliminated every distraction basically out of my life. So all the distractions were gone. There was only room for me to grow. I stopped watching TV too. Like, I would watch TV almost every single weekend before I was celibate, and I would binge watch TV shows all the time. And now I read books and I listen to motivational like YouTube videos now. So it completely changed my personality, the way that I look. People were telling me, you have such a glow up. It's not even that. It's like, once I realized my worth and I started pouring into myself, other people started seeing that. Other people started seeing my worth. I attracted way more clients because I felt like I was worth it. I attract higher value men that have something going for themselves. They have a large following. They're living in their purpose because I'm living in my purpose. When I was working a job, I wasn't happy. I was miserable. So I always attracted people who were miserable also. So it literally goes to show that if you pour into yourself and you are disciplined in any area of your life, you will attract everything to you. You don't have to go chasing after it. And that's another thing. Before, I was very much a people pleaser. I was chasing after people. I was chasing after things. I was chasing after money, and I was repelling all of that away from me. Now I sit in my energy and I allow all of that to come to me, and everything literally comes to me. So yeah, to recap, my celibacy journey before, I was just very unhappy with myself. I wasn't living in my purpose. I had no creative energy whatsoever. And then as soon as I started my celibacy journey, I got creative. I had more energy. I cut all the toxic things, people, places, and things out of my life. And my whole life did a 180 in 2 years. Could you imagine if I would have started sooner? Or could you imagine where my life is going to be a couple years from now? It's so crazy how you're one decision away from a whole different life. And that one decision for me was to start being celibate and pouring into myself and harnessing and keeping that energy to myself, because that is the most sacred energy that you have. You need to protect it and hold it tight, for men and for women. What they won't tell you, and what society won't tell you, and what the red pillars won't tell you, is that the more that you better yourself, the better you attract. If you're sick and tired of what you're doing now, of who you're with, of where you're living, whatever your circumstance is, you are in control. You have the power and the ability to change that, and you're one decision away from a completely different life. And we have the same 24 hours. If I can do it, anyone can do it, trust me. And that's why I started this podcast, so that other people know that they're not alone either. And so I can share my story, and through my story, hopefully I can inspire others to go after their dreams as well. So I'm going to wrap up this episode here, guys. I'm going to do another part to the celibacy journey, because I do have some other points that I do want to touch on. A book that I recommend that has something to do with celibacy. There's a book for men and for women that I want to talk about in my next episode for that. So it might not be the next direct episode, but I do want to have multiple parts to this topic. I may even have a guest on to further help me discuss this topic. So if you liked this episode, please follow me on Instagram. We have our own Instagram. It's called Girltalk the podcast. And again, you can listen to us on Spotify, and you can watch us here on YouTube. So that was my episode. Thank you for tuning in. Again, this is your host, Cash Like Money, aka Kasandra Marie. All right, thank you guys so much for listening. I don't have anything else to say except for I love you guys, and I will see you in my next episode, in my next video.